Have you ever met someone who was extremely confident, but completely wrong? Someone who argues loudly, insists they're right, and refuses to listen to anyone else. Surprisingly, psychology has an explanation for this behavior. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it might explain why the least knowledgeable people are often the most confident. In 1999, two psychologists named David Dunning and Justin Kruger conducted a fascinating study. They wanted to understand something strange. Why do some people perform poorly on tests, yet believe they did extremely well? So they gave participants tests on logic, grammar, and humor. After finishing, participants were asked to estimate how well they performed. The results shocked the researchers. The people who scored the lowest believed they performed better than most others. Meanwhile, the smartest participants actually underestimated their abilities. The inspiration for the study came from a very strange crime. A bank robber named MacArthur Wheeler believed that rubbing lemon juice on his face would make him invisible to security cameras. Why? Because lemon juice can be used as invisible ink. So he robbed banks without wearing a mask, believing the cameras couldn't see him. Of course, the cameras saw everything. The police arrested him quickly. This bizarre case made researchers realize something important. Sometimes people are so inexperienced that they don't even realize how wrong they are. The Dunning-Kruger effect happens because the same skills needed to perform a task are also needed to evaluate that task. In other words, if someone lacks knowledge in a subject, they also lack the ability to recognize their mistakes. This creates a dangerous illusion. People believe they understand something deeply, when in reality, they barely understand it at all. That's why beginners in many fields often feel extremely confident. But as they learn more, they begin to realize how complex things really are, and their confidence actually drops. The Dunning-Kruger effect appears everywhere in daily life. On social media, people often argue passionately about topics they barely understand. In workplaces, some employees believe they are experts despite limited experience. Even in sports or education, beginners may believe they are far better than they actually are. This doesn't mean people are stupid. It simply shows that confidence and competence are not always the same thing. The good news is that the Dunning-Kruger effect can be reduced. Education, feedback, and experience help people better understand their abilities. The more we learn, the better we become at recognizing what we don't know. Ironically, truly intelligent people often doubt themselves more, because they understand how much there still is to learn. So the next time you see someone who seems extremely confident about everything, remember the Dunning-Kruger effect. Sometimes the loudest voice in the room isn't the most knowledgeable one, and true wisdom often begins with a simple realization. There is always more to learn.